the concept of this class is actually try to asking you guys to think about your ideal city. What it means ideal city? For an ideal city means everything you need got a support. All the resource you need is rich, right? You won't having a poor life. So you may need a clean water, you may need energy, you may need a power supply, and the medical system, transport system, or even the garbage recycle system. All these kind of things combined together and it will create an ideal city. So in the first class, we already mentioned about land, okay? With the land, we could build a city. Without the land, can we still have a city? The answer actually is true. Yes, we can. No, we can build a city floating underwater. And there is a country named Holland. They already try to do so. 80% of Holland country land is under the sea level. So after they're facing the high tide, if they didn't block the water outside of their county, all the country will be covered 80% by the seawater, salt water, and all land will die. So if you go search and use the word Holland and use the keyword like floating house, and you will see their new technology. And you may think about, well, if we have a floating, movable house on the water, I could switch my place all the time. How could I got my package? If I want to send you a gift, I want to send you a package, how can the postman working on that, right? Have you ever think about that problem? It might cause a huge problem because you disappeared. You was here yesterday, but today you disappear. So the postman cannot find you. But don't worry, we have another technology called GPS, right? So average house combined with a GPS signal. Okay, like sending a signal to the satellite, so the government could collecting your position all the time, so they will know where you are, right? Okay, so without the land, we could still be building a city. So the first class, we talk about the land. We talk about land. And I told you the history about how Taiwan island born by some volcano eruption, by some plate hitting each other, the interaction between the plates. And I talking about the Pacific Fire Ring. And some of you already sending me the keywords of Pacific Fire Ring. So allowed me to show you. I haven't finished the PowerPoint last week. Here is a very ancient plant. And let's split up to many, many different land. And while I'm moving, the underwater volcano or the normal volcano on the land will eruption, okay, and cause the earthquake. This land is keep rising or keep going down. All the land keep rising or going down. If you think the land is keep rising, raising your hand. If you think that the land is always keep going down, sunken, and raising your hand. Okay, 2 of you think about that. The truth is, if you know it, you know it. You don't know it, you don't know it, okay? There's no right or wrong, but be honest to yourself. Okay, actually, some lands keep rising, and the others keep sunken. Like I mentioned, if you still remember in last week, Taipei City is keep going down, right? Because the Okinawa plant, the North Pacific plant is going up to the Euro-Asian plant. And the south part like Kending or Hengchun, the land is keep rising because the Philippine plant is pushing the Euro-Asian plant up. In the south part of Taiwan, the Philippine sea plant keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So he goes up. And in this part, Euro-Asian, and here, actually, we didn't see on the map, this part is a Pacific sea plant. And it keep pushing the Euro-Asian plant, and the Euro-Asian plant like a curve. circling Taiwan, the western part. And here, they work too strong, so they push the Philippine seaplane down. So the Taipei will keep going down, and Hengchun will keep going rise. 这个东西很有趣，就是台湾有一半是往上升，一半是往下降的。台北市是一直往下降的，主要的原因是因为台北市的外围碰到了欧亚板块跟太平洋板块，在北部。你看这张图的话，就是西部这个是欧亚板块，这里其实没有秀出来是有太平洋板块的。太平洋板块其实又是琉球海沟这个区块，所以你会看到这边有些 Okinawa 的一些东西吧。Anyway， 这两个板块太有作用力了，所以它就一直压在菲律宾海板块上面，把它压下去。然后呢，在南部的地方呢，菲律宾海板块其实是撞到欧亚板块，然后一直往上推的，这样懂吗？所以说，其实台湾的南部是往上不停的长高，然后台北是不停的往下降的。所以我们如果把时间放远成几千万年之后的话，台湾是会反转过来的。北部会下去，然后南部会上来的，这样了解吗？ When we're talking about a geographic time, we are talking about 10 million years for one section. Here's another explanation in Chinese, so I will skip it. If you still remember, the ancient land looks like that. While this plate in the central of those gaps create a volcano line. So in this map, it shows the volcano line. On this red line, this is the location. This is the location for the plate to separate. Okay? This is the central between two plates. And in the central, we have volcano, they have a gap. They keep extending to the different way. And then you can see Taiwan is in here, right? We have a huge volcano line here. And we have a Pacific Fire Ring, another name, is surrounding the here to California. Keep going back here. So do you still remember there's a movie named California Earthquake? 加州大地震. And then the reason they have the earthquake is because they are very close to the Pacific Fire Ring, also Taiwan. Okay? And then after the fire, after the land, we'll talk about the water. And after the water, we'll talk about energy. So you could have a picture in your mind right now. Is it safe to build a nuclear power station in Taiwan? Is it safe? Based on the geographic, is it safe? Yes or no? No. Actually, no. Is it safe to build a nuclear power station in Japan? No. So where is a safe place? There is no safe place for build a nuclear power station, but which place is better?
In the East Europe.
Yeah, Europe will be fine. In the central of those land, Europe, India, and Australia, maybe in the middle, that place should be better. Okay, that will be a better choice. But in Taiwan, no, we don't. We don't have this kind of a condition to build it. It's not good enough for Taiwan. Okay, but what can we do? We already have 3, and one retire. For now, we have 2 nuclear power stations in Taiwan. And will they having problem? Might be. We should consider about that. So the concept is we try to build an ideal city. So land, we already have it. And today we are talking about water. And before we start this class, I try to bring something that could raise your interest in. Let me show you. Okay. Does anyone have idea how we prove these 2 plates would connect to each other? How can we prove it? Just like Taiwan and mainland China. How can we prove Taiwan and mainland China would connect to each other?
From the shape?
From the shape?
Like if we see the African continent and the South America, it's very similar because they kind of shape and they crack. They were one before and then they separated. It's the same with Northern America and then the
okay, like you can see the curve here.
Yeah, like the curve
here, right? The angle here and then the angle here might be matched to each other. So depends on the shape, we can guess, but we cannot prove, right? We cannot prove. We can guess only. We cannot prove.
If we find the same I don't know how to say 化石。
Fossil. You can find the same fossil here.
Yeah.
Okay, ancient animal. If the ancient animal, they only live on the land, and they could walking from this plant to other plant, which means they were connected to each other. Okay. If you see a fish fossil on the land, which means this land were under the water. Okay. Combined with the biology, we know the animal behaviors. So we could use that to prove. Okay, any other things we could prove. Here's the provement like, oh, this is interesting. The dinosaur can be a chicken. The evolution, yes, true, we already proved it. So you see the movie like the dinosaurs yelling so loud, like a scary sound, right? But actually their sound is like a chicken, goo 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 this way. They could not yelling loud, they are not scary. Okay. 我刚刚讲到其实是讲说恐龙的演化过程啊，其实我们现在已经证明到恐龙是跟鸡是同源的，也就是鸡是恐龙变来的。所以你看到这个暴龙的话，它以前的叫声，我去模拟它的喉咙的叫声，它其实是跟公鸡的叫声一样，咕咕咕这种声音的，一点都不吓人。所以电影里面的是假的。Okay. And you can see on this land, the animal could climb from here to there, from South America to Africa. So which means this land was connected to each other. Okay. And what we can do is the third one, minerals under the earth. If I find a rare element, rare minerals in South America, and also find the same element in Africa, and they are very close to each other, we may guess this land was connected to each other. Okay, this is the way we prove it. And the radiations is also a way. Like, we mentioned about the nuclear power station, right? Do you remember there's one called Chernobyl, 车诺比核电厂? Later one was exploded, right? Fukuyama nuclear power station in Japan, they exploded, right? While they exploded, it became like a radiation bomb. All the radiation separated to the surrounding area, and this land were polluted. Okay, polluted. Even after the time, following by the time, the strength of this radiation will decrease. Even that, we still could detect it after millions of years. So we could use these things to try to predict. In ancient time, maybe we have a fallen star, the heating on the land, and they spread it, the radiation on the area, surrounding the area. And if this land split, and we can see this whole circle work together. Let me try to explain again. Here is a resource of a radiation, like a nuclear station, power station. If they explode, and all the radios split to other location, forming like a circle. Until here, you understand, right? Okay, a fallen star, a huge rock from the universe hitting the land also caused the same situation. Okay, so if here now we have a huge earthquake and these two lands separate, one goes left, the other goes right, but we could detect the strength of radiation in different locations. And if it forming a perfect circle, which means they were connected together. Okay, right, in Chinese. 核电厂爆发，我们第4点提到的哈，这 PowerPoint 第4点他们提到的是 radiations， 就是放射线的东西，可以造成放射线的原因很多，比如说彗星撞地球啦，好，比如说像核电厂爆发，在这样子的过程中，都有可能会造成这些放射性物质散布各地。那我们可以在中间这个，如果陆地是分开成2半的时候，我们就可以去检测附近其他地方的那个放射线的指数。那如果这些指数都差不多，然后它形成一个类似圆圈的这个情况的话，我就可以知道说这里曾经发生过一个事件，然后这些东西发生过事件之后，地质才分开的。这样了解吗？这叫 radiation 的 detection。这样。好 ，If it's too deep, so let's go to something that's more interesting. Dinosaurs. Okay, I bring you one dinosaur. It's quite expensive, so don't destroy it. Okay, for the online student, sorry, you couldn't touch it. You couldn't taste it. So yes, don't lick it, okay? Do not use your tongue. Don't lick it. Do not try to eat it. Several of my students try to lick the fossil because they never tested the dinosaur before. Truly, I'm telling the truth, so don't do it, okay? It's disgusting. Okay, if you couldn't see the fossil by yourself here, it's the shape of this one. It's actually a very tiny one. It's only about 30 centimeter long, very tiny, but it is a dinosaur living in the ocean. How did I get it? I buy it, okay? I buy it. It's already illegal to export all the dinosaur fossils from mainland China to whole world. It's already being illegal. But before it was forbidden, they already have a lot of the fossil goes out to other countries. So I buy one in a jade market. In a jade market. So you can see this one. You can see this is a real one. And if you touch it, you will feel that those stone layer will absorb all the moisture, all the water from your finger. They're super dried, you know. They're super dry, and they have a high ability to soak the moisture. And you can touch it; it's quite very smooth. And if you see the layers here, you can see even it's only 1 centimeter thick, but like thousands of layers inside. Average layers means the river have some like a typhoon or storm water, too strong water to covers a lot of the mud. Average layer means that kind of event. So in Taiwan, if we have 3 huge typhoon, and it may create 3 tiny layer on the fossil. So this is already very old one. Do not break it, okay? How did I know it? If you check the fake one, the shape will be odd. It'll be weird, okay? The reason I know it is true is because I do a lot of research. I check the bone structure and I check the detail. Human can simulate the shape of a dinosaur, but they could not be so detailed. And we have many different science way to detect it. Like we could detect the carbon element, carbon 14 inside, and to detect the time. But it's very expensive. I didn't doing that. If you want to see a fossil is real, the first thing is you check the metrics it have. If it's real and you consider about it was under the water, it is under the sea, so all the algae living surrounding there, and then they accumulate it on each other, create this kind of a matrix that absorbs the water. Okay, so once you touch it, you know the matrix is right. And then you check the shape of this bone, and you know it is right. Yep, this is the way how I identified it. And we do have another fossils here. It's a fish. You can open the box and touch it, but do not break it. It's a fish. And we also have a fossil like Ammonite. If they combine with the element silica, 它如果跟细结合的话，它会变得很漂亮。This is Ammonite. What I want to show you is Ammonite. Here. Here's the shell of Ammonite. And when they combine with the silica, it creates different color. And you can see inside the cell they have. And the least dark red part is actually their meat. Their meat. Okay, what do they look like? They look like a squid with a shell. Like this one, a squid here with a shell. This is a very old animal. The only one existent creature in here, in the land, is 鹦鹉螺, Nautilus, 鹦鹉螺. Okay. And if you see the picture of a Nautilus, and you will see, here the picture see here is a Nautilus. I think you might have the chance already to see their pictures. Here, this part is like the squid, soft one. And the chamber inside, we could not we could not keep the soft muscle, but we could keep the shell, and all the chambers was filling with the silica. What we didn't mention last week is I told you some negative part of earthquake and volcano, but what is the positive part? We're talking about a volcano ash that could kill people, right? Like all the person in Bombay city was murdered within 1 week by the volcano ash. But except that, did volcano do have some benefit to human? Okay, volcano ash is quite toxic, quite poison. But after they accumulated on the land, they become rich soiled. So all the land beside the volcano is very good for agriculture, okay, for growing food, because the soil is so rich. And with volcano, we will have hot spring, 温泉. Did you ever go to any hot spring in Taiwan? We have a hot spring, of course, in Yangming Mountain. Actually, in whole Taiwan, we have a hot spring along the central mountain. I go to the Google and search Taiwan hot spring map, and you will see the location of those hot spring is along with the central mountain, 中央山脉. Okay, and while they are located this place, Eurasian plant, Philippine sea plant, they hit each other, and the land rising creates the central mountain. Okay, so under the central mountain, there's actually a gap between these two plants, right? And on this gap, we have a volcano. Okay, we have volcano. So under the land, we have volcano, but in the central mountain, they are so high. The central mountain is about 4,000 meters high. And with that kind of pressure, we stop the volcano. But in the root of central mountain, 在中央山脉的山脚的部分, we didn't have enough pressure to stop the volcano. So the gap keep splitting, and the hot heat, hot steam goes out. So volcano is like that way. Here is the land. If we have a huge mountain on it, it creates a lot of pressure to stop the volcano here. It could not directly goes up. It must go to the other place, like the root beside the mountain. Okay, they have a thin layer, so the pressure could release this way. And here is the land. If this is the underland volcano, it goes out. But here is some water between two layers of solid, and the heat will heating up the water, and the water comes out to the surface. It is hot spring. Okay, so if you want to find a hot spring, go to the central mountain, the root of the central mountain in Taiwan, you'll find many. Okay, in the western part, if that is close to the harbor, you won't find one. Okay, along the sea coast, you won't find one. It must be beside the mountain. This is called a geographical thermal. In Iceland, the volcano also brings this benefit for them. There is an active called mild digging in computer science area. But you all know less things, just you don't know that it's called mild digging. Bitcoin, Dogecoin. We have our currency, right? Taiwan have a Taiwan money, right? We have a paper money. But if you want to doing some trading online, you will use a credit card, right? But now we create one system called coin. This kind of coin is online coin. It's invisible, right? The most famous one is Bitcoin. 比特币, okay, Bitcoin. And if you want to get this coin, you must doing one process named mild digging, 挖矿. okay, called mile digging. What is mile digging means? Means I will have to calculate a lot of things for other people. And if I do more, I'll get more money. Okay, I use my computer resource as a database for you. I try to analyze things for you. And once I send in the data to you, and then you pay me a little bit. And it will be exchanged to the Bitcoin. And if you want to doing that, you waste a lot of energy. And you all have that experience. If you use your laptop for too long time, it will getting hot, right? So you need a place that is cold, a cold place to decrease the heat created by your laptop or computer. So you need it to the north part or south part to vary like a polar circle. And once you get in there, you need also have your power supplied. But electronic things could be very expensive. You know, if we turn on the air conditioner, we're wasting the money, right? So natural place in Iceland, they have the natural condition, weather condition, which is very cold. So let's decrease the temperature of your laptop or computer. And then the charging of their electronic power is quite cheap because they don't have to produce or create it. Like Taiwan will produce it by using nuclear system, but they don't have to. They have an underground energy by volcano. It's called geothermal. Geothermal, geographic thermal, which means this heat, let heating the hot spring, heating the water, create the steam, okay? And the steam to push the fan to working, and the fan energizing the power, okay? So their power is actually free. So volcano could give us free power. That's kind of good, right? And you never have to heating up your best water. Everything you use in the ice island, in the cold place is warm because of the volcano. This is the benefit of volcano too. And here is actually a picture for Iceland. It's a true picture view of Iceland. Here is the power station, geothermal power station. And all the smoke here, you saw that, is actually a steam. It's totally not pollute, totally non-toxic. It's just moisture, hot moisture. So Iceland is like heaven, you know, without poison, with a lot of energy, of course, like with water and with the heat. And with volcano, they have a rich land, so their agriculture could be good. You might feel doubted of it, like a country in such a north part could have a good agriculture because they have the underground volcano and the geothermal, so the land is warm enough for those plants. So this is the first PowerPoint in first week. We mentioned about the heat, the land, and then we're going to water. Okay, but I will try to combine several things together for you. Once you think about water, what do you think in your mind? Life, yes. How many percentage of water in your body?
70.
70, 80.
Okay. Men with more water or women?
Man.
Men. Who says that? You says that? Okay.
Yeah.
No, wrong.
Oh, sorry.
Women is created by water. You all remember that, you know, that words from the commercial aid, right? Women was made by water. All the cosmetics contains water. Try to keep the moisture in your body, right? They all use this way to selling those cosmetic things. So women has more water in their body. The population in this world, human with this kind of division, like men with 50%, women are 50% too. Okay, 1-to-1, this rate, men and women. And the women have more water in their body. Okay, how many? Give me the number. It's not 70. It's more than 70. 80, and it will be like a pear, a fruit, a pear. Pear contains about 80% of water. So if you're biting yourself, it won't juicy, right? It's not juicy, so it's not that high. It's lower than 80%. Between 70 to 80. Give me a number. 75 is a little bit too more.
72.
Yes, 72. Okay, 72. The women have 72% of water in their body. And I told you, in this world, the population, the men and women is 1-to-1. Okay, 50-50. So with that things, how much water, how many percentage water in men's body, in male's body? Calculator is a mathematic. We have the population of men to women is 1-to-1. Okay, 50-50. 50-50. And women have a 72% of water in their body. But the average is 70%, right? You all know that rule. You all know this number. 70% of water contains in human's body. But women have higher number. So how is this one? In male?
68.
Yes, 68. 68%. Okay. Let me explain in Chinese. 男生跟女生的比例是1:1，然后人类身体中的水分是70%，那女生身体里面有72%，请问男生身体里面有几%？就是 A 加 B 除以2等于70，A 等于72，B 等于多少？这样，这个很简单的数学哈，所以男生是68。So we have actually 4% difference between male and female. Why? Okay, we'll leave this question. In future, I will answer you why. Okay, we'll keep going. So mention about water, we think about life. Without water, can we still have living form, life form on the earth?
No.
Yeah, but is that real? Human could only realize, could only knowing the things we familiar to. We're familiar with all the creatures that all need water to live. So we identified the definition of a live creature means they using water to produce their next generation. But have you ever thought about the crystal? They can growing bigger and bigger, but very slow. The rock could growing that. The diamond could growing bigger, following by the time. Are they some kind of a life form we don't familiar? It might be, okay? It might be. Just we don't understand right now, okay? And with water, it's a daily supplement for average of you. So water is quite very important. You like dirty water or clean water?
Plain water.
Definitely clean water, right? Okay. Okay, with water, we could live. We like clean water. But how much water in percentage we have is clean, totally clean, pure, so clean that we could directly drink it? Actually, only 5% of the water is naturally clean water. We could drink them directly, only 5%. And where are they? Where are those clean water? Underground? Well, underground might be mixed with the minerals, so it might be dirty.
Water mountains, water that comes from mountains. Can we actually directly drink that?
Okay, let me tell you the answer. It's on the mountain top. Okay, those frozen water like ice, they are pure and clean. They are ancient water. They already exist in there more than million years. Okay, they are clean. They are frozen. They are truly clean, but it's hard to get, right? So if I'm asking you to drink an underground water, will you do so? If I dig a hole on the land and the water comes out and asks you to drink it, are you dare to? No, all the water needs to be purified. Okay, need to be filtered and to be purified. So how can we purify the water? How is the process? How is the process? Like in Kaohsiung, you see so many industry factories around Kaohsiung, and we do have air pollution in the winter time. So you could imagine that the water, underground water, could be very dirty, right? If we plug it out, it won't be able to drink directly. We have to purify it. So how is the process to purify the water? Here is the way. Water treatment process. Pumping land in here and make land accumulated, and by adding the segmentation means adding a lot of chemicals inside that could absorb the dirty particle and make them goes down. And then with filtration, we use different material to let the water pass through, like tiny rock like the sand. Those material, those matrix, after the water pass through it, it will getting cleaner. Okay, then this interfaction, which means they also use some agent, the clean agent inside, and to digest the pH value, and then they go to the storage and let's use the pipeline to connect to your room. Okay, so if you want to go check the detail, use those words to do the Google search, and each process is very complex, so I won't be able to explain in detail. Okay, all the water need to be treated, but how do we know the water we pump is clean? Human can put some sensor inside. Okay, to put some sensor inside. Like we have one sensor that could detect the iron. The other one could detect like acid and maybe something like organic chemicals. We could use different sensor, but there are so many different things that could pollute it, that could poison our water, right? So one sensor will not be enough. And we try to find out a way to solve this problem. And today, our famous start is Clam. Okay, so once we talk about Clam, what cross your mind? Yes, me too. I think about food. Scallops is my favorite seafood. Yeah. The clam also called shellfish, like with a shell. Okay, they have a single shell creature and double shell creature. Normally we call the clam is double shell. Okay, it's double shell, like could open and close, because it's double shell. It's a clam that could produce the pearl, but freshwater pearl. Okay, and we do have clam living in salt water. They could also create pearl. The oyster, you know, the oyster in shell, you know that. Could oyster produce shell? Yes or no? If you think it's yes, raising your hand. If you think it's no, raising your hand. Okay, but actually the truth is they can. Oyster can produce the pearl. And do you really think one fresh water clam could naturally produce so many pearls? Is it natural? No, it's not natural. If without human interruption, if without that, only like 1 of 10,000 clam could have that chance to produce one pearl. Okay, one pearl a time. So this is unnatural. Human plug nuclear into the shell and force them to forming the pearl, so many pearl. It's unnatural. Okay, and then we'll talk about the weather and we'll talk about the water and what does clam do for us? Okay, and combined with the news we have in this week. Do you know several things I want to talk to you in this slide? You can see some blue spots along with the shell, right? Many blue spots here. What is it? This one, the blue one, tiny blue one here. What was it? It's clam's eyes. We have 2 eyes and you think it's already good enough, but let's have more than 50. Average eyes could detect the light, but cannot create vision, right? They could not see the shape of other objects. They could only see the shadow and the light. If once they see the shadow, they'll run away. Okay? Clam can swing. Do you know that? Clam can swing, fast or slow. If you think the clam could swing fast, raise your hand. Yeah. If you don't know, let's check. They go diving in the freshwater or seawater. They saw the clam just lay down the seabed. But once the light, they use the flashlight. Once they get this kind of light, then they are getting excited and they try to run away because they thought that is our enemy, so we have to run away. So they can swim actually very fast. They only have a huge muscle, one huge muscle inside that control the shell to open or close. That muscle is the scallop we eat. Okay, that part of muscle called the scholarship. And once we talk about pearl, how many of you like pearl? Good one is always expensive. Freshwater pearl is more expensive or saltwater pearl. And there's one thing you should know. China owns 95% of global market of freshwater pearl. If you see 100 freshwater pearl in the market, 95 come from China. Wow. If they stop to export the pearl to the world, and we won't have a pearl. Can you tell the difference between the freshwater and the saltwater? Which one is from which country? It's actually a basic knowledge for you. If you want to be a rich man, you want to buy something right, you should know where they're from, right?
I know the black pearl is from Tahiti.
Yes, black pearl is from Tahiti, but also freshwater pearl have this color, not that shine. Okay, you can see this black pearl is not totally gray and black. It is green and black, right? This is
Yes.
so-called peacock black pearl. Peacock black pearl only produced from Tahiti. Okay, so this is a very famous one. And this is called golden pearl. It's the real color. It's the real color, natural real color of this pearl. It's called the golden pearl. It's from South Pacific Island. This one is from Japan. It's named Akoya. It's very famous brand, Akoya Pearl. It's shining with a rose color. I couldn't show you the whole shining face of this pearl only in one PowerPoint slide. I already tried to find a good picture, but not good enough. If you compare 2 different pearl, one is from Akoya, one is from freshwater, and you are so easy to tell the difference. Okay, even like a little bit of laser color on the Akoya pearl, that pink, shining pink. And under these 3 pearl here, all of this is freshwater pearl. Okay, freshwater pearl that could create so many different color by feeding them different food. Okay, if you give them some food with purple color, they create purple color. We create many pearls in once. Akoya pearls need very good technology to farming land. Okay, so we already see the clam swimming. Now I'm showing you how to doing the pearl farming. It's in Argo Bay, located in Beihai Dao. This is Akoya Pearl. In video, it shows much better color. They actually raising the pearl by by collecting the egg from clam and let them grow under very good condition. In 1 year, that clam can grow to big enough to having one pearl inside. For saltwater mother pearl, they could only raising one pearl per time. So it's more expensive. And they're easy to die. So if you want farming a pearl, you need a clean seawater. And here's an indoor place. They try to collecting the egg and larva from the clam. Those tiny things on a plastic web. Each spot here is one clam. They were growing up to about 10 centimeter big, this size. And each of the clam could incubate one pearl. So within 2 years, the pearl down. Within 2 years, one pearl down. From egg, this tiny one, cute. And they are feeding them by aiding the plankton. Once they go back to the ocean, actually you don't have to feeding them because the currents bring the plankton to land, so they can feed themselves. So most of the difficult period is actually indoor part. When you're collecting the egg and the larva and try to grow it up. So this is most difficult part. Raising oyster. They didn't use clam, they use oyster. Oyster means eatable, okay? So after collecting the pearl, all the oyster will go to the food market. And all the scallop you eat from Taiwan almost import from Japan. And they are the byproduct of this pearl industry. Look at this sentence here. It says, if we want to collecting the eggs from the mother, from their parents, they will have to put all the shells inside a fixed box, which means cut out the oxygen supply for those oysters. And once they are out of oxygen, what will happen? They will feel, oh, we are going to die, right? So before we died, we release our sperm and egg so we could produce next generation, okay? So they create this condition for this clams, the parents. So they will lack of oxygen and open their shell like they are dizzy, opening the mouth, okay? And they release out their eggs inside the box. Cutting out a piece. If you randomly plugging weird things into an oyster, they will try to puke it out. It will not be able to keep inside stably. So you must pretending that kind of things you plug in is belong to clam itself. How to pretend in it? By giving them a clothes from other clam. Okay, they put some tissues in that nuclear. Okay, actually, they cutting. This is a scallop inside. This is the meat. Here is some skin from one clam. They're cutting this part into a tiny piece. And this is the nuclear. They want to plug into a new shell. Okay? So they're putting one piece on this nuclear. And this nuclear plugging into another shell. So they won't feel weird about these things. This part is pretending, use this skin to pretend this one belong to the other clam. Okay, so this is the part they are going to cut this tissue out. See? This one die, sacrifice, because they want to donate the tissue. Yeah. See, they're cutting here. It's a thin layer. And you can see this clam is still alive. It's squeezed, the neural system still work. And it must be done very quick. Within 1 minute, it must be done. Otherwise, the tissue will die. If a tissue die, this pearl die too. And it also may cause infection for the new clam. So the new clam will also die. So you must done it. Okay, after you cut it, to paint with red color for more visible. And then this kind of color also slightly affect the color of the pearl. Okay, so if you put purple color inside here, it may stimulate the new clam to create different color pearl. Yeah. But it's not the major part. The major factor that control the color of the pearl is the plankton. What they eat creates the color. Made of freshwater shell. Why not use saltwater shell? Why use freshwater shell? Because the freshwater clam grows bigger. Okay? Their shell is thinner, so you could get bigger nucleus. Okay? The bigger the nucleus, the bigger the pearl is. Okay? So they try to use it by freshwater, but you can easily think in your mind, freshwater shell and saltwater shell are different creature. Of course, if I put a dog into your stomach, right, you will feel weird, right? But if I try to pretend that it's part of your tissue, you will feel fine. This is the reason. This shape also a very important fact. If it's round enough, the pearl will be round enough. The price will be higher. So the technology to create this round nucleus is very important. It's very high technology. Why the Akoya Pearl sells so expensive? It's because their milling technology is so good. Okay. 在这个地方跟你讲，就是说，就是磨圆的这个功力啊，这个技术在 Akoya 这个公司是非常好的。好，如果他们没有这样子的磨成这么圆的功力的话，它的价格不会这么高，因为珍珠的价格其实取决于它的圆滑程度。Now they try to imply the nuclei into insert a piece, the tissue, the tiny tissue, insert that first, and then insert the nucleus. And this poor client is seriously injured, and they will give them a hospital to recover. Now they try to recover, give them very rich food and very, very extremely cleaned seawater, so they can recover well. X-ray check. Why use X-ray check? Because even we adding some tissue inside, still a lot of chance they fail, they could not grow, still have a lot of chance. So we use X-ray to detect if the pearl in the right position should be in here. But if the pearl goes to this part, means they already disagree with this strange part in their body. They want to eject it. So once we use X-ray to detect the pearl is located here, this one is useless. Okay. And following you will see it. This is the machine that is sending the X-ray. And this man is watching the screen to see the location. Each one put inside. You see the screen. They check the location. If one is not the incorrect one, they push it out. Here's the one that not good enough. This is good enough. And then they will have enough room for each other. So they won't have some bacterial infection. And then goes to the plastic floating plant for them. They are hanging inside the water, seawater, and let the ocean to raise them up. Washing, they have to wash the shell. If some kind of a parasite or other shells living on their shell, it will decrease the nutrition they get, and they will not be able to having good quality of the pearl. So every 3 months, I think they will put it up and try to clean. Here is some tiny shell. They try to remove it. After land climate, it go back to the ocean again. Migration. In north part of Japan, the seawater can be very cold during the winter time. So they will have to move it to some warmer place during the winter time. It's a 2-year section. So first 3 years, they will have one winter, right? So they have to move to a warmer place. Actually humans bloodless, truly. We want the pearl, so we murder a clam. And even their meat, we eat it. Science ever think about that the clam don't have brain. They won't be able to think. They don't know they are murdered. But recently research identified that actually clam can think. So they know they were cut it into a piece. They know it. So let's just, are we still going to doing that just because of the pearl? For me, yes, I don't mind. For you, maybe you have to reconsider about that. Okay. The pearl is too pretty. I'm a jewel maker. Of course, I need a pearl. You can see they opening the shell and cut out a scallop. Here, the scallop. Food means food for human. I think definitely you eat this one, definitely. And then wash the pearl. And after that, they were separated into different grades. See, different color and different shape. They will have to separate it by human eyes. Okay, there are some young girls doing this job. They have good eyes. They can compare different pearl and find out a better one. If this one, like this one, not so wrong, okay, not so round. It's not a perfect circle like this one. It's lower level, okay? This is another news, I think. Japan is a former foreign minister, Fumio. It will become the new prime minister. And the policy, international policy between Japan and the United States, I think they will cooperate better. And the United States try to against China. So the policy, Japan to China, will go strict more, I think. And since we talk about 95% of the fresh water is from mainland China, and Japan do have their pearl market with high quality, but very hard to sell it because the quality of freshwater pearl also increasing. The consumer could not separate the different things, cannot tell the difference. So actually, Akoya Pearl was threatened by China's freshwater pearl. So after these guys become a prime minister, maybe the import policy will also change for the pearl market. You know what? For seafood, Japan exports seafood annually to the whole world. The first place, the seafood they export is scallop. Second place is pearl. So that is kind of important things, a clam and the pearl. And that is an international affair, Maybe you didn't realize that. Okay, and I once been there, Tahoe Lake, I go camping there. Very good experience. And you can see their water quality is so clear, right? But within this decades, I think, few decades, 20 years, within 20 years, the water quality go down. It's not so clear anymore. They try to find out the reason, and then they identified that the science to find out that the tiny particle inside the water decrease the clarity of the water, and also the tiny algal, green algal inside will decrease the color of the water. So you can see here is the algal we could find in this fresh water. This is actually another pictures for Tahoe Lake that grows with the green algal. This is the fine particle. And even the raindrop is not clean. Did you guys know that? If now we start to have a rain outside in a very hot temperature, are you still feel so romantic to opening your mouth in the rain and let the rain drop falling on your face? When I was a child, it's truly joyful. I could go out and play the rain, and I would drink the rainwater and fine. But now you won't, okay? We have so much toxic things floating in the air, and they will be washed down by the rain and absorbed by the rainwater. Also, the tiny plastic, we call the fine plastic, fine, 微小的细致的 fine plastic, tiny plastic, will be contained in the water. And also this one, this cute one, I thought it's cute one, is E. coli. It's a bacteria. It named E. coli. E. coli living in your guts. Okay, every each of you have E. coli inside your body, but some are very poisoned. Some is fine for you. Okay, so this is the reason you have to drink yogurt to create a good environment for those bacteria. So the E. coli will go to a good way, not go to the bad way. Okay, E. coli also contains the raindrop. We want to talk about why we have water, but in next class, okay, we don't have much time. Taiwan, normally we shouldn't have so abundant rain here, but we do. We do have a lot of rain here. How many months we will have rain in 1 year? Taiwan student, 我们一年有几个月是在下雨的? Online student, do you know the answer?
3 or 4.
3 or 4 months we have rain. We have called a plum rain, 梅雨, in April and May, like 2 months. And we have a huge rain in summer season because we have a typhoon. Okay? And the reason we could have water is also a global event. Like we list a number here on the PowerPoint slide here. 23.5 degree north latitude. This line close to Taiwan in the central part of Taiwan, close to the Jiayi County. Okay? This line actually designed we have rain or not. Okay, if you go to the Google map and you will see all the country located in this latitude around 30, they are dry land, but Taiwan is a green island. It's weird. Do not use this location, use this satellite picture. And you will see there are many parts covered by green color. Green color means we have plant. We have plant, okay? A plant need water to grow. So it shows greener, which means more water, okay? So latitude 23.5 north degree here goes to other country, and you will see in this part, latitude, around the latitude 30. Here is a desert, right? Here is also a desert. Only the sea coast have a little slight green. Go to the north part, yes, latitude 30. SARS, it's also dry land. And why we have water? You know, if you want to create a city, you need water. How to create a city without water in desert? Right? We have that kind of technology to collecting the moisture from the dry air. Yes, we could, but it's quite expensive. And Taiwan, we have abundant water, so we could waste it. You don't have to turn off your pipeline when you're washing your hand. You could just let it go. But in other countries, we couldn't waste water like that way. Okay, and the next class we'll talk about that.